right, welcome back for another podcast from Deals A to Z. Jeff Brailio and myself, Yoshi, have a very special guest, Dustin Miles. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yes, for having me.
Wonderful. So, Dustin, let's dive right into this. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about your background and then how you got started in real estate?
Yeah, so I am, as you can probably tell, I'm a Southerner. I'm from Georgia originally.
Nice.
And I didn't know a ton about real estate from, where I'm from. We didn't have real estate investors, things like that. But once I got into college and I went to law school, like Jeff, I started.
He's another lawyer, by the way.
Yes. Nice.
Yes. So we won't gang up on you, Yosh.
Yes, please.
Yes, I started learning more and more about real estate. And this was also about the time that a lot of people they got duped into it, I guess, in some ways from all the new flipping shows that came out around the same time. So
Sure.
I started watching those, and it was always something that was of interest once I got a little understanding of what it is, what you can do with it. And so I just, once I got out of law school, I just started, trying to do whatever I could to get some money up and start investing. And so that's kind of how I got started. I haven't done a ton of investment, yet. I have four properties now. Just finished a flip, but so it was just
believe it or not, four properties in a flip is certainly beyond most investors.
And some of them. I lived in Atlanta for a long time, so when I moved, I got a job in New York for a couple of years, and when I moved, I decided, did I want to keep this house, sell it, or whatever. So again, that's kind of my first foray into investing. I kept it, and I've had a renter in there ever since. You make a little bit of cash flow every month, not much, but it's appreciated, so that's always a good thing. And so that's kind of how that's how I got started with it. I just saw the shows, and I was like, I could probably do that. I really think that's something that interests me, and and I just I think I could make this work and do it in some ways better than they did. In my opinion,
Right.
Probably necessarily doesn't turn out that way, but.
And did you have a full-time job when you started picking up the rentals?
I did, yeah. I've had a full-time job up until this past December, which was in the middle of my last flip, my last investment, which actually is not going to be a flip. Originally, it was. I've had a full-time job up until that point. And I just did, I did a lot of the work myself on this last one, and it was, pretty much a weekend endeavor, more of a hobby at that point until I stopped, working full time to focus on the property full time. So up until December, I've worked full time.
Great.
Doing this stuff on the side.
So if I understand correctly, as of December, then you made a career change to a full-time real estate guy. For the time being, I'm actually in school now for I'm furthering my law teachings. I'm going one other passion I always had, which I don't know if can even count as a passion, but Jeff would say it does not.
I know what it is.
I'm going back to school online now, of course, but I'm getting my LLM, which is a master's in law degree. In taxation, so that's always been an area of interest of mine as well. So I'm planning on, once I graduate from that in May, I plan on kind of combining the two fields, and so I'll have hopefully expertise on a lot of different fronts. I have my real estate license. I do the remodels and a lot of it myself, and now this finance part of it as well. So hopefully it'll all kind of work together and gel nicely.
Very nice.
How did you find your first properties? Did you use a real estate agent with investment experience? Did you have a mentor?
The first property I count as my true investment. Now, I count anytime I purchase a property, whether it's for myself or
Okay.
as my residence, I count that as a future investment. I know at the time it's not considered that, but yeah, the home I purchased.
Even a primary residence is a significant real estate investment.
It is, and I think being an investor, that's probably someone probably wouldn't necessarily consider themselves that, just by purchasing. But you're right, exactly. I mean, it's a huge investment. If you do it right, you come out pretty good on the other side. If you ever sell it or whatever you decide to do.
And you learn all about the contracting process, the closing process, financing, and then remodel, upkeep, cost of maintaining the property, utilities. There's a lot of experience you gain just by being in your own house.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And knowing your own house, if you do decide to say rent it, or sell it, every facet. So I think that comes in handy as well. But to get back to your question, I used a real estate agent on my first property, and that was mainly because it was in New Jersey. And I do most of the research myself. I'm still pretty hands-on with that, but I pretty much had to use an agent then. And but I found the property, and I knew it was undervalued. And this is another thing that kind of gets me about people who sell their own homes, is that sometimes they don't understand. There's simple things that they can do, when they're selling their home to make it more valuable. And simple things, cheap things.
Yeah.
Paint, and these people didn't do that. So all the rooms had different colors, strange colors, crazy purples, reds, greens, blues, whatever, and it turned off a lot of buyers. So they couldn't get what the true market value should be for the house. And that stuff never bothers me. I mean, wall color, the fixtures, even kitchen cabinets, whatever. That doesn't concern me, because I know those things are changeable.
Yes.
And so I got the property for a good deal and sold it about a year later, and made quite a nice profit on it because of that. Because they didn't take the time to maybe do things that they could, that it wouldn't cost a lot of money, a couple $1,000s maybe.
Did you do any kind of education or program or mentor during the remodel process? How did you run numbers and estimate costs? Did you do any of that?
For the home in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big spreadsheet user, even still, and so I run the numbers pretty much on everything. And it's so easy now to find comps and determine which way the market's moving, up, down, stagnant, whatever the case may be. It's so easy for the normal, for an average buyer to do that.
Yeah.
And in some ways, if you don't do it, you're doing yourself injustice. So, I know I've always.
You mentioned to me last week you actually did most of the work yourself.
For my last property remodel, I did 98%, I'd say, of the work myself, and this was a big remodel. Most of my remodels up until now have been kind of mild to moderate. This was pretty major. I took it down to the exterior walls.
Wow.
And it's a 1903. I think they consider it a folk Victorian downtown Salt Lake City.
Uh-huh.
I just pretty much had a clean slate. I demoed the entire. I mean, it's a single family home turned into a multi family apartment building.
Yeah.
Which I've never been a fan of. These nice
Older homes,
great structures being turned into those kinds of multi-family units. I've always had an issue with that, I guess, and so one of my goals is to change them back. so that's kind of what I'm doing, and that's what I did with this one. And I did everything but the sheetrock and the plumbing. I did it all on this one. And
Wow.
It was intentional. I know Jeff wouldn't necessarily recommend this to most people, and I wouldn't either.
But what a great learning experience.
It's a tremendous. I mean, I've learned. After I you're never truly done, but when you're done, there's so much. You've learned so much, way more than you would ever have thought you would doing.
Yes.
And it was a passion, project too. It was, how people say it's not really a job if you love doing it. And
Right.
I've never had a job where I wanted to stay, 2 or 3 hours longer and
Yeah.
go, as early, come back as quickly as possible.
Right.
But during this,
Come in on Sundays.
yeah, I mean, it changed me.
Yes.
It was a true passion, and I really look forward to every day. And now I don't do it. It's done, and I'm like, I gotta figure something else out.
Yeah.
You can do 10 projects if you're just managing them.
That's true, and I will do much less work.
Scaling up.
So you'd mentioned that, if I recall it, this was going to be a flip, and now it's a rental. Do you mind sharing how you changed your mind?
So it's it still could be a flip. It's just not going to be necessarily a short-term flip. I still think there's value, and I think most people would agree. There's still value in the downtown Salt Lake market for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Most of Utah.
Yeah.
So just I want to hang on to it. I want to see it appreciate. Even more than my sweat equity has caused it.
Yeah.
So I want to, I just want to ride that wave and see where it takes me. But in the meantime, I even thought about living there for a while. But right now it's renting, and for the foreseeable future that'll be the case. But it's just so I can hold on to it. That I've done them in the past where I've rented it, but I've also done kind of the BRRRR method. And cash out refi. That's not really what I wanted to do with this one or anything like that. I just kind of wanted, where it is, and just to see where it goes, because I think it's got great potential, and I'm actually really excited about that one.
Oh, good. You said that it was last December that you decided to finally become a full-time real estate investor.
That's right. Yes.
What was it about December that helped you come to that conclusion or make that decision?
Yeah, well, I've known that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I've always been in the corporate world, and I can't say I won't ever be in that world again, because it's likely, at least in some form or fashion, I will. But just being able to do what I love doing, and that's made all the difference to me. I get to design it. And create, and I've always been somewhat of more of a creative person, and it just kind of fit with me. And so at the end of the year, I was like, this is if I'm going to do it, I already have started doing the remodel, so let me do it full time, and
Did you have any financial worries?
Not really, because I think I did so much upfront work. And there's always external, things that happen as we see now.
Yeah.
There's things you can't control, right? But
Right.
there are things that I think you can control, or at least have a good sense of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, a financing, the financial aspect of this house was never really an issue. You always go over.
You got your personal finances, leaving a job to a point where you only make money, every couple of months when you flip the project.
Yeah, well, and I have my, other sources of income too, the rentals and stuff like that from, previous. And I've been a pretty good saver too. So, for me on that one, I really haven't experienced that yet. But you have to be, you just have to be careful, the financing up front. Most, like I said, most of the work, and you guys probably can attest, most of the work is done before you ever, pick up a hammer or call a contractor or whatever. You kind of just have to, do the work then. And I mean, I continue doing the work, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But this was not one that, I was confident in this one to a high degree. So I I haven't worried, and it's it's already paying off. So the source of income that it provides us is really good.
Good.
Very
So
cool.
alternative sources of revenue and some savings, and boom,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're into real estate.
exactly. Yeah.
It's that easy.
It sounds like you were very prepared to make this transition in that, like you said, good saver, already an attorney, already having other sources of income. Any tips for other people out there, maybe in a very similar boat, that are thinking, oh man, I want to make this shift into another career where I'm going to have more flexibility, more freedom, but I'm so nervous to leave this other income that I know is consistent. Any tips for people out there that think like that?
Almost 100% of people think like that.
It's true. It's true.
It's scary. When you have that comfort, but it's true what you hear. I mean, if you just don't, if you never make that leap, you're going to never know. Yeah, you may, you may fail, and you probably everything won't be, apples and flowers or whatever all the time. But you just have to, do it. I mean, and you have to make sure you do the upfront work. I think is vital. If you just jump into if you buy a house and oh, that house is pretty, I'm gonna buy it, or it's in a good location, I'm gonna pay a little more for it. Those things can come back and bite you. You really have to look at it from all sides. I mean,
Yes.
But you do have to just bite the bullet at some point and do it. Don't leave yourself out there naked, but at some point you're gonna don't have very long on this planet, so you kind of just have to at some point say, hey, I'm doing it, and I'm going to make it work one way or the other, and learn from the failures. I learned a lot from this last one. Physical pain, mental pain.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be pain, but I think the result in the end, if you do it right, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
What did you do to learn your education, how to either comp things out or price out things or run budgets, or what remodels do? Did you watch DIY programs on TV? Did you read books? Did you get a program, a mentor?
Yeah, REI Mastery.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
come on. That's a dumb question.
What did you want me to say, Jeff?
Everybody goes to REI Mastery to you.
Big plug. Shameless plug right here.
Yeah. Jeff did not say anything about saying that, but it's true. There's so much education out there, so much good education, and I know Jeff's been in this a long time. He actually helped me incorporate an LLC a while back. That I don't know if he remembers, but I do, because it's my only one right now. But I mean, there's so much education. I read books. You read the rental books, and you're going to get viewpoints from so many different sides, and you just have to kind of pick what works for you. There's so many options with real estate, which is one of the things that I love about it. There are ways to make money, in many different ways.
Yeah.
So it's not a singular area of investment. It's not like buying a stock on the exchange or whatever. It's a tangible asset that you can see and touch and do things to. But yet you can also make money off of it in many different ways, as opposed to just appreciation. You can have the cash flow every month from a rental, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, there's never-ending ways to make money in real estate.
Go on and on. Yep, absolutely.
We're always creating new ones.
There's always going to be new ones, right? Exactly.
Good.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeff. Do you have any other final questions?
We're good.
Dustin, if there's anything I can personally do for you to be helpful with, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm sure Jeff feels the same way, but I don't know for sure, so I just said me. And I want to thank you so much for being a guest today on our podcast. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks, Dustin. Have a great day. Much success on your next project.
Thank you.
Okay.
Definitely.
See you guys.
See you guys.
See you. Thank you.